Welcome to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice. We're telling the stories of Kansas City nonprofits and the people behind them. I'm Ruth Baum-Biggis. KC Cares is proudly sponsored by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. STEAM education, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It's become one of the most important areas of focus in educating our young people. And research indicates that girls and students of color often lag behind getting the education they deserve and they need in this area. One area institution, the Museum of Prairie Fire, is focused on delivering programs and experiences to change that. And we're joined today by the executive director of the museum at Prairie Fire, the MAP, by Terri Thompson, who I adore talking to. Terri, it's so nice to see your entire face.
I know, it's so nice to see your beautiful face.
Oh, you're very kind, but wow, we're going to start at the very beginning. It's been a while since we've had the honor of chatting with you. Last time we were at the museum, which is just gorgeous and beautiful. We are safely distanced right now because of that P word, pandemic.
Yes.
But let's reacquaint folks with the museum. Lots of people know it from the outside, beautiful glass and everything. Tell us about MAP.
Okay, first of all, it's free to come in the front door. So many people have said, oh, I know that building. That building is beautiful. And I'm like, awesome. Have you been in? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so I finally started asking people, why not? And they said, well, it's just so nice. I feel like, it's an event to have to go there. And I'm like, no, come on in. If you're shorts and flip-flops in the summer, you've got snow boots and a parka on in the winter, come on in. Literally, you walk 3 steps in the door, turn to the left, and you've got a full-size T-Rex coming around the corner, right, headed in your direction. It's amazing. We've got the Alive screen where you can build your own dinosaur and name it and watch it come to life on the big screen and interact with you. We've got KC Paleo, which is really cool because it tells the story of how natural history played a part in Kansas City being right where we are on the map, which is super cool. And then we have the Discovery Room. And the Discovery Room is 6 different sections of, dare we say, hands-on science, but it's sanitized frequently, very frequently. And we, so many cool things in there, including live animals that you can engage with. And then we have our Wetlands Trail, and that is something that people get use out of year round. It's beautiful to walk through there after a snowfall. It's beautiful to walk through there in the early spring when things are budding, in the summer when it's in full bloom, in the fall where animals are building their little hibernation places. So it's a lot to see and do here at the museum.
Well, when we were chatting, you mentioned you have a birthday this year.
Yes.
It's going to be 7 years that the museum has been here.
7 years on May 12th. We opened May 12, 2014.
How did this all come to be?
Well, it's weird. So our developers, our founders, Fred and Candy, were in the grocery store one day and decided that Johnson County Overland Park needed a cultural community center on the way to the grocery store. A cultural community center that also served a need of the underserved community. And they came up with a natural science museum that celebrates all things Kansas and also provides STEAM education to underserved children throughout the metro. So we have a stout education department. We serve the community in which we sit, and then we take those revenues and we go out and we give it to the underserved kids in the community at no charge, removing every possible barrier.
You make this sound like it was a really easy thing to do, and just like that, it happened.
No, ma'am. This is what I say all the time, because I'm telling you, impossible. We do impossible things in this building every day. And this is what I say, when you give good, you get good. And we are doing the hard work. We're doing the hand-to-hand combat, even in the midst of a pandemic. We did a whole summer of outreach with Operation Breakthrough last summer. We're doing a whole summer of outreach at Boys and Girls Club and Operation Breakthrough this summer. So we're not even going to let this pandemic slow us down or stop us from providing access to underserved kids. That is our mission. It's what we were built and born to do, and we're just doing it. And so I say how we have survived this pandemic and how we have morphed and become who we are as an entity is you do good and you get good. We have a wonderful philanthropic community in Kansas City, and they see what we're doing, they see the work's happening, and they support it. And it's a beautiful thing.
Since you mentioned the P word, let's jump off and really dig into that. Okay, so last year, Kansas City locked down like the rest of the world in March sometime. And
Yes.
Here you have this huge institution that you had school groups coming in and parents with young children and visitors to the metro who dared to come in the front door of this beautiful building. What happened? And then if you'd share with us kind of how you all navigated and continue to navigate.
So we were kind of in that March something-teenth group of businesses to shut down when it was getting really serious. And I'll never forget my son, who's on the Marching Mizzou band drumline, had a trip scheduled to Ireland over St. Patrick's Day. And 2 days before they were supposed to take off, the trip was canceled because of course they're not going to take a group of 200 something college students over, and they're realizing, oh, this is real. This is really happening. This is canceled, done. And I went, to me, that was the first signal of this is really real and it's really here. And so we decided we have to close in the interest of public safety. We have to close and let this thing pass. That's, I think, what most people thought. So that was in March. We had already made a commitment to Operation Breakthrough to participate in their summer program and bring STEAM education to the kiddos at Operation Breakthrough. They had 350 kids signed up. So Tyler at Operation Breakthrough asked if we were still willing to participate. And I said, we made the commitment, we will be there. I talked to my staff, are you willing? They said, absolutely. And so we kept with that commitment. So while our doors were closed, we were working out the details of providing the STEAM education to summer school. And then we decided, as things were we're wrapping our heads around, how do you open safely? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does it mean? Is it truly safe? We decided to go ahead and open our doors back up to the public on June 1st. And it was a very scary process. Anyone who managed a business through this, went through this, where I felt like the processes I put in place could save a life or take a life. That I was responsible for keeping the public that walked through our doors after June 1st safe. And it's a very serious thing. It was not taken lightly. And so we put our protocols and processes in place. We decided to close 2 hours earlier every day. Just that would afford us to be able to be open and function. And we did it, and people came, and it was, a fraction of the visitorship we had before, but those that came through the door were so happy and thankful that we were open June 1st. Did Operation Breakthrough Summer Camp all last summer. August, we decided to offer just some really small camps, sci-fun camps. Great. We had people sign up, participate. It was a really good thing. then we decided to take some of that to our KCUA groups, back out to Operation Breakthrough, Boys and Girls Club, and those entities that we serve through Kfc Urban Advantage. And we also decided at that point in time, let's open a co-op. Children aren't going back to school. We are an education museum. Why not offer a co-op for kids in the community that we sit? And we will only offer 20 positions in this co-op. And we'll only offer 20 positions in this co-op, and that co-op filled up quickly. And that co-op is still in existence through the end of this school year. And it was a beautiful, remarkable thing to be able to be a resource for the community in multiple ways through this pandemic. It's been a really incredible experience. And I'm really proud of our staff who just stepped up and said, yes, I'm in, let's do this. It's been a roller coaster, but it was a proud ride.
Speaking of staff, how big is your staff? And are we dealing with people who come from an educational standpoint, museum standpoint? Because you do it all.
Yes, it's mostly educators and scientists. I have one staffer who actually has a formal museum background education, but mostly we are scientists and educators, because that is the heart of what we do. That is who we are. So you'll come and visit us and say, oh, this is great, I want to see more. So you go to buy a ticket, right? And that's another thing. We made all of our tickets $5, all of them $5 through the pandemic. If you want something to do, you want to come out, we want to make it as inexpensive as possible for you and keep the lights on. And so you come, you slide your $5 across. That person that's taking your ticket is most likely a scientist of some sort or an educator. So from the welcome desk, through the discovery room, through teaching our classes, our camps, and our outreach throughout the building, you will find scientists and educators. I am the one person who is not a scientist or an educator.
You are now.
I mean, I am now. By degree, I'm a registered nurse, but that was 100 years ago. But yes, so it's a really interesting and fun place to work and to be around so many curious minds that are really dedicated and committed to the cause. It's just, I can't even tell you, Ruth, it just feels beautiful to walk in the building every day.
Well, I want to talk about one more thing with the pandemic, and then we're leaving the P word. So now we're a year plus, and masks and things don't look like they're going to go away anytime soon. And the shifting you did, what have you learned, and what may stay? Are there any what we call pandemic positives?
Oh, lots of pandemic positives, lots. When operating under a minimized budget, you learn what is really needed and what you have just because the industry says you should have this. And you learn that there's a lot of fluff and a lot of fat in there. That's just because it's industry standards and not actually what you need. So that was very, very interesting and enlightening, because I've never been a fan of organizations that have a lot of fluff and a lot of fat. I'm more about walk the walk instead of let's just talk about it all day. Let's get in here and do it. And I also learned that you can do a lot with a little. You can make a huge difference with next to no budget, a few dedicated staff members, and our existing, well, what was a huge help for us was our existing educational library. We have a STEAM educational library that is amazing, that has been in development for 7 years, and we're constantly adding to it. And it's incredible. Oh, that's something I missed. We now have STEAM at Home on our website. So if you go to visitthemap.org, you can click on STEAM at Home, and it has fun STEAM lessons you can do at home with objects found around the house. And it has the lesson, and it has the vocabulary, and it has suggested books for reading. It's really a cool resource for kiddos and parents who are stuck at home to access and kind of continue that education on their own. So I think that's the most key thing, is that with this pandemic, it literally put everyone on the same level. You know, you have certain businesses that have been around for 100 years, and there are other businesses that have been around for 2 years, and the ones that have been around forever are kind of coveted as they know the way to go. They know the way, and they're so much more established. This pandemic put us all on level playing field, all on a level playing field. We were all trying to figure it out all at the same time, all scrambling to do the best that we could. And that was enlightening, because it took away that big old, but this is the way we've always done it. Everything was new. We were all learning how to do it differently now. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. It was empowering to smaller institutions such as ours to just say, now the gloves are off, and let's just do the good work. Let's get in here and let's just do it without the so much of the pomp and circumstance that keeps us in this box. And we were able to we were rock stars through it. I'm telling you, just rock stars with little to no budget, small dedicated staff, and a lot of creativity and ingenuity.
We're going to take a quick break. And after that, we're going to come back and talk about the new and exciting things that you have planned for the map.
Yes.
We're back with Terri Thompson. She's the executive director of the museum at Prairie Fire, otherwise known as the MAP, or the Glistening Building in southern Johnson County off of 135th Street. So we're done with the pandemic now. We'll try not to go back to what we're still kind of living in. But I'm amazed. Let's talk a little bit about the Kfc Urban
Advantage.
Urban Advantage. What is that? And how are you involved with it?
Okay, so Kfc Urban Advantage is our program. It is our mission. It's why we exist. It was developed in conjunction with the American Museum of Natural History in New York. They have the original Urban Advantage program. There's also one in Miami. There's one in Denver. So they're kind of growing throughout metropolitans throughout the country. And what it is a program that is dedicated to bringing essential STEAM education to underserved youth in the hopes of breaking cyclical poverty, because it can be broken in one generation through education, flat out. And we plant those seeds and we light that fire and we get these kids excited and interested and comfortable with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Everything from the terminology to the technology to scientific study, so that it's human nature that we gravitate toward what is comforting to us and what's familiar to us. So when we introduce it when they're really small and keep it coming back and coming back, it's something they're comfortable with, they'll gravitate towards it when they get to middle school and they get to select those electives. They're going to select those electives that are STEAM electives that they're comfortable and familiar. Their grades are great in those areas. They're really strong in those areas. And that's the whole trickle up effect of what we do.
Do you all partner with anybody to make that happen?
Absolutely. Collaboration is key. So we collaborate on two ends. So that we have the partners we serve and the partners that serve with us. So partners that serve with us are like the World War I Museum, Overland Park Arboretum, Powell Gardens, the Kansas City Zoo, Kfc Friends of Alvin Ailey. So we have these serving partners that serve with us. And then we have the partners that we serve. We have 10 elementary schools that are KCUA schools that we serve. There's two in Olathe, one in Shawnee, 4 in KCMO, 3 in KCK. We also serve the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kansas City, Operation Breakthrough, Emmanuel Center. I know I'm missing one. That's so sad. Kids TLC. So the kids that we serve, this is how we do this. So we go to the top. So Boys and Girls Club, Dr. Dred Scott. And we say, this is what we want to provide for your kids, for Boys and Girls Club kids. This is what we want to provide. And he says, great, how much? Nothing. Really? Nothing. So he said, this is what he literally said to me. You're going to come out and teach STEAM education to our kids, provide the materials, the whole nine, and not charge us. Yes. You're going to allow our kids to come out and have a field trip at the museum at Prairie Fire, and you're not going to charge us. No. You're going to allow our kids to go out to Overland Park Arboretum. Yes. World War I. Yes. And you're not going to charge us. No. And he's like, well, where do we sign up? So that's what we do with our non-school. Our school partners, we start with the principal, and we introduce what it is that we're bringing to the table, which is professional development for educators, so that they become more comfortable teaching project-based and teaching STEAM. We provide outreach where we come into the classrooms and teach STEAM projects. We provide on-site trips. We provide the buses. We provide the lunch. We provide the tickets for them to get in, and we provide a pass for their entire family to come back for a return visit. And I know when I get to that line, that part of it, some people go, but you're on 135th and Knoll. We are on 135th and Knoll, but we have a metro bus stop right on the corner of this museum that we worked really hard to get. The object is to remove every barrier, and provide access to the kids. And I'm telling you, Ruth, there have been some like tear-jerking moments. There have been some real reality check moments. There have been some angry moments through engaging with the teachers and the principals and the students and the families. But I can see, you see when you get those students here and there, and you see, they ask a question, then they ask a deeper question, and they ask an even deeper question, and you could see the wheels turning, and you see that light bulb come on, and you're like, that is it right there. That's it. That's what all of this is for, to set that spark into motion. I literally had a little boy ask one of our scientists at the end of a field trip, because he had asked 50 questions. And he said, can I ask you one more question? This was a 6th grade group. And he said, sure. And he said, can I go to college? And Ian said, yeah, of course you could go to college. And he said, well, at home, they told me I can't go to college. And Ian goes, do you have access to the internet? And he said, yes. At school, in the library. He said, well, here, he goes to the welcome desk and he gets his card, my card, everyone's card he could think of. He said, each one of these cards has an email address on it. You can ask me or any one of these people how you can go to college, how you can get money to pay for college, any question you have about college, we will help you. And he just got the biggest smile on his face. And so when Ian is telling me the story, I was so touched and happy. And then I was like, wait, where is home? And why are they telling this little baby that he can't go to college? But that's a whole nother story. I was just like, moments like that that's it. That's the reason why we exist.
You're a mission moment.
I'm stealing that, Ruth. That is it.
Feel free to do that, my friend. All right, so let's talk about some of the exciting things that you have coming up. I don't want us to end our conversation. I know you had talked about angry moments, and one of the things that flashed into my mind was the anger with all the racial issues of the last year. And
Yes.
You all, I think, are going to have a pretty fantastic thing coming up. So I want to make sure we all chat about that.
Yes, we are having an exhibition in our now T-Mobile gallery that is talking about race. It's a Smithsonian Institute exhibition, and it is simply incredible. So as you approach the exhibition at the front end, it talks about why it's important, why the conversation of race is important. And one of the most powerful lines in that opening is, it's important because every single person has a race identifier. Every single one of us has a race that we identify for our own selves. And it's like this, it's not something that's an internal identifier, it's out an external identifier. That's why it's important to talk about race, because every one of us has our own racial identity. And then throughout the exhibition, it asks powerful questions it asks in big, bold statements while you have a mirror. So you're looking at yourself while you're asking yourself these questions, like, when did you first realize that there were other races? What was your first interaction with a person from another race? And it makes you think back, like, when did I know that there were other races? And then for me, I went, oh, it was that incident with that boy, blah, and then my parents had to tell me about other races and how some people think. And it's really enlightening and eye-opening. And then it rolls from that. And so you have very introspective, thoughtful things as you're answering these questions for yourself. And then it goes into how to start the conversation. If you are a parent, if you are a neighbor, if you are a teacher, how do you start the conversation? Because that's the most uncomfortable part. I think that through 2020, we've all matured enough that we can say, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. We can have honest conversations, but it's how do you start it? And this gives you exact keywords and phrases and how do you start that according to who you are and your audience. So if you are the educator, if you are the parent, and then there's QR codes throughout for you to get more info. If you want to take this knowledge home with you, click that QR code. Now you've got the website saved on your phone to access later.
This is just all part and parcel of everything you all do. Best place to find information on this is going to be on your website.
.org.
Terri, we could talk for hours, but I'm so glad we were able to catch up and see what a great jewel and resource. It does look like a jewel out there, but people should come in and not feel intimidated. It's the museum at Prairie Fire, and we're so grateful that you spent time with us. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to KC Cares, Kansas City's nonprofit voice. We're produced by Charitable Communications, and we're proudly funded by the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation. If you'd like to be a guest on KC Cares like Terri or underwriting opportunities, visit our website at kccaresonline.org and spread the love. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at KC Cares Radio and on Instagram at KC Cares Online. And catch us on ESPN 1510 AM and 94.5 FM Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. No reason you have to miss us. Thank you for watching and listening to KC Cares.